How's it going, everybody? My name's Eric, and in this video I'm going to show you step by step how to set up your I think it's called Geo. I called it Jiose because of the S, but I think the SE is silent. It's geothermal label printer. We're gonna set it up with a PC, and we're also going to set it up with a Mac. Hopefully this will help somebody out there that's setting up their printer and might be a little bit frustrated. There is a video index in the description, so check that out if you want to skip ahead because you don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste your time. So check out that index in the description. And if you haven't already, please give the video a thumbs up. If you aren't already subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing, and let's get into the initial setup, and then we'll get into the computers. So here we have the thermal printer. You're gonna have to grab your power cord, plug the power cord into the power supply, and then make sure that you plug this into the wall. Plug this into the back of the printer. If you get sparks, that means your printer switch was on. If you don't get sparks, you wanna turn your printer on. The circle means the printer's off. The line means that the printer is on. Now that we have power, we're going to load some labels and calibrate our printer. This printer can use any type of thermal labels. It's a non-proprietary design, so it will work with any thermal label. And the way that this is designed, it will work with fan fold, where you put the labels behind it, or you can suspend a roll in a box with a pencil behind it like that. Or you could even buy one of these things and suspend your roll like that. Or you could put your fan fold labels in it so they're nice organized, I guess. We're actually gonna use the circle roll on the actual spool thing. We're gonna make sure that these printer feed guides match up with our labels. You want it to just be a little bit bigger than the label size. And then we're just going to slide those in, and as you can see, the printer kind of like sucked it in, pushed it out, and then made a little beeping noise. This is ready status. If you press once on that button, it should feed you exactly one label. That means the printer knows that it is a 4x6 label, that it's been calibrated. If for some reason yours does not, you can calibrate your printer by holding this button down. It'll do this calibration thing where it's feeding labels, making some noises, sucking them in, pushing them out. And then now the printer knows what size labels are in there. In order to open this printer up, you press in on the top of these blue button things. It has to be the top. You cannot press in on the bottom. It has to be the top. You gotta push on them both at the same time and then lift that top. We're gonna push these labels back and close the top and get this ready to go. You can use different size labels. You'll just adjust that label guide, and then you'll have to calibrate the printer anytime you change label sizes. Now that we are calibrated, you're going to take the USB cord that came with your printer, and depending on your computer, if your computer has a regular USB port, you'll be able to use the USB type A cable. If you have a newer Mac with USB-C, make sure that you buy the right listing that has a USB-C cable included, because I was informed by the company that there is a listing with a USB-C cable included, or you're gonna have to buy this USB-C cable off of Amazon for $7 or $8 like I did. I will put a link to this cable in the description. So basically one side of the cable is exactly the same. This goes into the printer, and the other end of the cable is different. This is a USB-C. This is a USB-A. So this is normal older computers. These are the newer computers with the USB Type-C. And no, this printer will not work if you plug it into your iPhone or your tablet. It just won't work. It'll only work with computers. We're actually gonna set it up on a Dell. I'm going to take the USB cord that it came with, plug in one side to the printer, then I'm going to plug other side into the computer. I'm gonna take the USB stick that the printer shipped with. I'm also going to plug that into the computer, and then I will see you guys on the computer. So here we are on our Windows computer. We're going to open up the USB drive before we do anything, and you can do that down here. Click on that File Explorer, and then you're going to navigate over here to the Geo. Mine's a drive D. Your drive letter could be different, but it'll say Geo, so you'll click on that. Then you're going to go to Windows Setup, double click on that folder, and then there are some installation guides, but we're not going to look at those. We're just going to double click right here on this application. It's going to pop up saying, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? We're going to hit yes. It doesn't show this on the screen record. I'm not exactly sure why. We're going to hit yes. and then we're going to go install, and it's preparing to install the printer. Then this pops up. It looks like it already detected my USB port, but if it doesn't detect yours, you can hit detect USB port. It should detect what port your printer's plugged into. If it's not getting detected, try unplugging and plugging your cords back in just to make sure that everything's in, turning your printer on and off, and you should be good. Now we're going to hit install driver now, and it's going to install our printer. And it says right here, add printer successfully. Now we're going to hit exit. We're going to close out of that. And I'm going to go over here and type in printers and scanners. And it looks like right here, the Jiose J500 is indeed installed on our computer. I'm going to go to manage. And I'm just going to send a test print to the printer to make sure that it has a connection with the printer. And it should print out this Windows printer test page, and everything looks good. In order to configure the printer and change settings if you needed to do in the future, you would go here to printing preferences. You could go to page setup. Here's where you could change paper size or create a custom paper size. For instance, if we want to make a new one, we can call it 20 by 20, and the label size is 20 millimeters by 20 millimeters, and then hit OK. It should save this 20 by 20 dimension if, for instance, I was printing a 20 by 20 millimeter sticker or label, just for example. If you need to change your speed or darkness, it's right here. A media type, this you're probably not going to mess with. The gap is between what's going on between labels. The continuous label is a different type of label. So label with gaps is normally what people are going to be using. I'm going to open up a browser. I'm going to go to fulfilledmerchant.com. I'm going to type in sample label, then click here. I will put a link directly to this in the description. It is just a sample label to download in order to print. And then I'm going to hit print here. Make sure your destination is picked. The last time I printed on this computer was with the Rollo, so I'm gonna have to change it to see more. I'm gonna pick the Jiose J500. It defaulted to that custom 20 by 20. If you didn't make a custom, it's not going to do that for you. It probably will default to 4 by 6, which is 102 by 152. So I'm just going to change that to 102 by 152. And then I'm going to hit print. It printed fine. It was a little offset. That's not the printer's fault. That's because I kind of have it like not straight, but I can straighten the labels out, and I will send another print signal to the printer. And as you can see, that one is perfectly straight. It was just an issue of me not having this directly behind it. It wasn't the printer's fault at all. And that could be an issue that you actually run into. So I'm glad that that happened. Don't forget that most platforms do not format in 4x6. You're going to have to go into whatever platform that you're printing from. Let it be PayPal or eBay or Poshmark or Amazon or Etsy, wherever. It's not going to default to this, but I do have a video you need to check out. I will put a link to that video in the corner as well as the description. Make sure you watch that because you're going to be super frustrated printing 8.5 by 11s on your printer. You're going to think it's the printer's fault, and it's not the printer's fault. It's the platform's default fault. So that was the installation on the Windows, and now we are going to go to a Mac. So for a Mac, you're gonna wanna match your printer to whatever port you're gonna be using, to whatever cable you're gonna be using. So since this is a newer Mac, I'm going to use this USB Type-C cable. For whatever reason, the dongle does not work. This dongle did not work. This dongle did work, but instead of using this cable with these dongles, I'm just going to use this USB Type-B to USB Type-C cable as recommended. We're also going to need to prepare our USB driver, and for that we can use a dongle. There's no issue with data transfer from this to this, so that's what we're going to use and plug into one side. Then I'm going to plug the printer in, and then I will see you guys on the computer. So here we are on our Mac. Excuse my desktop, I really need to clean it up and I apologize. But we're going to first install our driver, and you want to open up a Finder down here, and then you're going to scroll down to Jiose. It should be your USB drive. If it's not popping up, make sure everything's plugged in tight. Take it out, plug it back in, It could be a connection issue. I actually just had to unplug mine and plug it back in, but I turned the camera off for that. Then you're going to open the folder called Mac OS Setup. I don't know why mine's in Gallery. I'm actually going to show it as a list because that's a little bit easier. So we're going to go to Mac OS Setup, double click on that. And then here it says Geo Mac Driver latest.dmg. You're going to double click on that. It's going to run this driver. Double click on this PKG right here. You're going to have to open up this gear down here in System Preferences. You're going to have to go to Security and Privacy. It should have a prompt here for opening it. And then it's going to open up this window. We're going to hit Continue. You're going to hit Install. And then it's going to ask for your password or your Touch ID. You're going to touch that and it should install. Now that it has installed, we're going to hit Close. We're going to go up here to our Finder and we're going to type in printers and scanners, hit enter. It'll bring you to this page. Ignore all of the printers that I have installed here. Yours will show what printers you currently have installed on your computer. You're going to hit the plus sign and here it should pop up with your Jiose printer. Mine is not popping up right now. So I just unplugged it and plugged it back in. And it popped up. It wasn't popping up. That could be an issue that you run into. Just plug it, unplug it, plug it back in, and then hopefully it will pop up. As you can see, it's connected by USB. Where it says choose driver, you're going to hit the drop down, go to select software, and then you're going to type in JIO and the Geo label printer. I keep calling it Jiose because that's what I was calling it in the last video, but it's Geo label printer. Hit OK. And then you're going to hit add. Now the printer is installed. Let's print a sample label. I will put a link to this in the description. It is a 4x6 sample label that I use for test prints. Open it up, hit Command P or File Print or this little print icon over here. You're going to want to make sure that the Geo J500 is picked. If it's not, you can go to See More and then you can pick the printer. You're going to want to make sure the paper size matches whatever labels you have in there. So any of these options, and then you're going to hit print. It'll send the print signal to the paper, and there we go. We have a beautiful sample label. As it says right here, if you could like, subscribe, and click the bell, that would be great. Now, if you need to print a custom size that's not on this paper size here, you're going to go to Print Using System Dialog. Then you're going to go to Paper Size, Manage Custom Size, create a new custom size by pressing plus. You can name it whatever you want by double clicking on it, and I can just put like custom, and then you're going to pick that paper size. So for if it's 5 inches by 2.5 inches, or if it's in millimeters, you're going to have to convert it to inches and then change it here. You can change your margins to 0, 0, 0, 0, and then hit OK. That'll create this custom size that you can use in the future if you need to. And then if you want to change print speed or darkness, you would do this drop down, go to Printer Features. It has a darkness scale, and it also has a speed scale right here. And before we get out of here, I do want to let everybody know that this is a 4x6 shipping label. In order to get this format, you're going to have to go into whatever platform you're shipping from, eBay, Etsy, Amazon, wherever. You're going to have to change the settings. Make sure you research how to do that, otherwise you're going to be frustrated. I do have a video I will put in the description. Make sure you watch that video to see how to change those settings on your platform. It will save you some headache, I promise. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions about the Geo printer, feel free to leave them in the comments section. And if you haven't already, please give the video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.